Over the last week or so, we have been starting to see the headline articles around war heating up in a big way. Now, during that time, we are also seeing the markets react to these headlines. And as you guys can even see from my screen on the monthly, this is also not just on the monthly, it's on the weekly, it's on the daily, and it's even on the hourly. We are seeing a sea of red. And this is because the markets are reacting to the news. Now, on top of this, I want you guys to understand that all of these discussions, all of these headlines around war, I don't think that we should be panicky here. I don't think that we should be acting impulsively. I don't think that we should be extremely bearish. I'm going to talk about why here in a moment. But first, I actually want to go over the market a little bit, just kind of do an overview of where we're at. Right now, Bitcoin hovering just under 107K, Ethereum about 25, almost 2,600, XRP about $2.24 almost. And if we actually look at the last week and the last month and even the daily and the hourly, XRP is not doing too bad. Neither is Bitcoin or even Ethereum. So pretty much we've just been stable without any major movement happening. It's been pretty uneventful for price action. But we definitely have been witnessing some pretty big spikes to the upside and the downside on a few altcoins and even on, of course, Bitcoin. Now, the overall market cap for crypto is still sitting at about 3.33 trillion. And I also do have the altcoin index over here. We're still very well in a Bitcoin season. We're starting to kind of move up into alt season, but we're not there yet. And we actually have a lot more, work to do. But outside of altcoins and the altcoin season index chart, the fear and greed index, kind of neutral, about 53. This did start to drop recently with a lot of the headline articles coming out. Things are getting a lot more exaggerated, and it's happening in a very, very quick time frame. But I'm going to put a spotlight on this, and I actually want to talk a little bit about it. I'm not trying to make this sound good. I'm not trying to say that war is good. I'm just going to give you guys the full 100% view on this. And I'll keep you guys, updated, obviously, on exactly what I see happening. And this is exactly what I foresee happening. But first, let's look at Bitcoin. Let's look at XRP. So Bitcoin and XRP, pretty boring on the 1 year, right? When we think about this, we've already had that nice impulsive move back in November. Since then, we've just been pretty boring from about January onward. Bitcoin did start the rally back in April, and we did hit all-time highs. Altcoins, not so much. Altcoins have been pretty boring. This is what the last 1 month looks like for Bitcoin. We're just kind of ranging. We have been ranging since the all-time high back in the end of May. And of course, when it comes to XRP, this is what the 1 month looks like for XRP. Sort of downtrend and then sideways price action. Now, I haven't really been paying attention too much to Bitcoin and even XRP. The main thing that I have been watching is the stock market, the S&P 500 to be specific, because we are so close to a new all-time high on this chart. But most people are not paying attention to this because of all of the headline articles happening around the Middle East. Now, we are getting close to the US joining in the fight because we've already been hearing talks about the US becoming a part of this now. And I'm not trying to make this a positive thing. And I'm not trying to say like, oh, yeah, we love war. War's great. No, obviously, wars, half of them are just ridiculous. The main thing that I talk about here is what the reaction to these, events will be with markets. I don't think that I need to tell you guys that war unlocks the key to printing more money. It's always been the case, okay? So with war, what do we typically see? Well, we see the M2 money supply go absolutely parabolic. What has happened to markets when the M2 money supply goes parabolic? Markets follow that trend. So if we are going to see the M2 supply explode, we are going to see all of these markets go parabolic. Now I ask, at what cost? Because if we go to war and markets go crazy, well, that typically means that there is a war ongoing. There's lives that are going to be lost. And that's what's going to cause markets to go parabolic, is war. That's not a good thing. I'm just giving you guys my overall outlook here on the reaction with the financial markets, with war. That's me being 100% honest with you guys. M2 supply goes parabolic, markets go parabolic with it. It's not a good thing, but it is exactly what happens. Now, right now, the retail market is predicting a 67% chance that the US will take imminent military action against Iran. This is something that we need to watch. I think that it's something that is very serious as well, because this could lead to, a war that stretches out for months, years. We don't know how big this is going to be. We don't know how bad it's going to be. But we're not here to talk about war. We're here to talk about the financial markets and how they will react. If we're going to go to war, markets will explode. We'll make money. But it's not a good thing. I'm just being honest with you guys. Outside of this, though, we also have over here, breaking: President Trump has ordered the National Security Council to assemble and be on alert, and he is leaving the G7 early to head immediately to DC. Source close to the U.S. military operations in the Middle East says Israel is planning to launch a fusion bomb on Iran, and this is why everyone who works in DC is scrambling back to offices. Israel stole this tech from America in the 60s and has maintained it as their top weapon in arsenal. A fusion explosion is more localized, targeted, and less fallout, but still as disastrous and devastating as a conventional nuke. The U.S. suspects the leader of Iran is dead or seriously injured, and Israel fears one of the few remaining rogue Iranian generals may use a nuke against Israel in a last-ditch move because they have nothing left to lose. U.S. forces are on standby to respond to casualties in region and to defend Israel if nuclear response occurs. So, again, this seems to be getting, a little bit more and more exaggerated day by day. Can we believe everything that we're hearing? Not exactly. I've said it many times over. We will see the craziest headlines as well. We'll see fear levels reaching all-time highs. We watched this happen many times over in previous cycles as well. We don't know exactly how bad it is. We just know that there is an ongoing back and forth battle right now in the Middle East. And now the US is technically starting to get involved. We don't know how exaggerated this is going to be. We don't know how, huge it's going to get. But we have to focus on this because, again, when it comes to the financial markets, this could severely impact the markets in a big way. Now, the big thing that I'm watching for right now is the Fed meeting, right? Because we are less than 2 days out now. We're less than 48 hours away from the FOMC meeting, and everyone thinks that they're just going to pause, rates. They're not going to make a decision on them. They're going to keep them unchanged for the month of June. A lot of people think that's going to be the month of June and July, and then we get the rate cut in September. We don't know exactly what's going to happen, but this is definitely something that I have been focused on so much over the last couple of weeks that I just keep, trying to let you guys know that this is going to be a very important day for the markets. Whatever happens at this meeting, it will impact the market. But what's crazy about this is we not just have the FOMC meeting here, we also have this war breaking out in the Middle East on top of this. So there is so many unknowns that could happen this week that could impact the market. So how do we prepare for this? Well, we keep stablecoins on the sidelines. We don't act impulsively. We don't take leveraged positions. We try to sit on our hands and just, be patient here. Whatever storm is here now, we will get through. The main thing that I'm watching for and the main thing that I'm focused on is exactly how the markets have reacted to every single war in history. This goes all the way back to 1927. This is the S&P 500 and war times. Again, war is always going to be a thing that can happen. War is always going to be a thing that can happen, especially when money is involved. But if we look back in history with all of these wars, okay, do you see the reaction with the S&P 500? Every single time that there is a war, almost every single time, the stock market goes crazy. And why? Well, it's because of the liquidity. War equals money. It equals liquidity flooding the markets. This time is not different. And what's crazy about this is everyone is focused on the war and what's happening over in the Middle East. They're completely missing the fact that we just signed documents to finalize a new trade deal with the UK. This is the US and the UK. This just happened earlier today. On top of that, 7.4 trillion is now sitting in money market funds, a new all-time high. This is all sideline money. And guess what? Money market funds, typically people put money into money market funds because they are suspecting either a recession is going to happen, a war is going to happen. They're scared. So they want to put their money to work in the safest way possible. Money market funds are one of the safest areas to park dollars. So that's why they're now looking at this, especially at a time where the DXY is dropping significantly. But I also want you guys to understand that this is all happening, okay, at a time where XRP looks like this, okay? We're now hearing talks about war. War is ongoing. XRP is still maintaining this uptrend. We're still possibly holding a higher low here compared to the low back in April. Bitcoin also looking as if we're going to hold and maintain this low from the middle of the month. Bitcoin still looks pretty weak here. We still want to break over and actually get a nice close over 107K. We're actually hitting on the daily about 106.8K. This is now resistance. We need to flip this level. And technically speaking, we want to break over 110.5K. That will clear these highs back here, this high wick that we hit. And then from there, we could actually target the all-time highs from May. We do not want to lose 102.7K. That would cause us to lose this previous low. And that's where we really kind of target these lows from the beginning of June, around roughly 100.4K. So we don't want to see a loss of 102.7K. We want to see a break over 110.6K. And right now we're just kind of chopping and ranging until we get closer to this FOMC meeting, see what happens with this FOMC meeting, and see what happens with the war as well. This is going to be a pretty volatile week, and we're just getting out of Monday now. So let's see what happens over the next couple of days in this week. On top of XRP and Bitcoin, the main thing that I'm focused on is Bitcoin dominance still. Guys, I just want you guys to understand that if we zoom out, right, we have yet to actually see alt season this cycle, okay? We're still pumping on Bitcoin dominance. I say this because if we think about all of the wars in previous time, I even remember if we technically go back to just the Russia-Ukraine conflict of 2022, right? That was starting to really make a lot of headlines leading into November of 2022 when FTX imploded as well. Guess what ended up happening after? The markets woke up in a huge way. For an example, Bitcoin bottomed in 2022. XRP bottomed around like the summer of 2022. When we think about where we're at right now, I actually think that everything we're seeing, all of the headlines and stuff, it's shaking the markets in a huge way. I'm not getting shaken out right now, especially at a time of war where we do know that the M2 supply will typically have a huge run up, which will increase liquidity, which will cause Bitcoin, stocks, XRP, everything in these markets to soar even higher because, again, we're seeing fresh liquidity. We're seeing the M2 supply breaking out. And also, while Bitcoin dominance looks like this, I do think that we are going to see a massive run up across the board for markets. I don't like the environment that's causing this to happen, though. I'm just going to be 100% with you guys. I don't like the idea of war. I never liked the idea of war, but it is something that we have to deal with, especially in a world where money is the main driver of almost all of this. The main reason why this is ongoing is because of the trade war, the tariffs, things like that. And we just got to get through the storm. But I want you guys to understand that technically speaking, this is bullish for markets. It is. I don't like this environment that we're in, but this is what we're being dealt here. And we just have to deal with the cards that we're being dealt. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, Nick, thanks for watching. Peace out.